11:82, Tony.
Time is 3:30. At this time, I call to order the Paris Union High School District Board meeting to order. I said 3:30. Item 3.1, invitation to address the board members, or Board of Trustees, excuse me.
No, we have none today.
Thank you. Item 4.1, adjourn to closed session. Second. Mr. Nielsen and Dr. Rao.
You guys are
Any-
quieting me down today.
Please vote.
Tony, did you see it?
It says
11:82.
business donations, that's donations.
Item 4.1 is a 4-0 vote.
Yeah, but that's the,
11:82.
It says donations on here.
Oh, maybe as a,
this is not a revised one, this is the one we went over. But that's the short one, I mean, the long one. You know what it is.
it should be,
What's the name of the long one? It shows
it's a
every,
report of purchases.
I thought I went in there and it just showed me that short expense.
Either way.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You're in charge.
Time is 5:12. We will reconvene in public session at this time. Next is Pledge of Allegiance. If you all could stand, please. Flags over here. Place your hand on your heart. Ready, begin.
Moment of silence for,
Item 7.1. 7.1, the board will recess the meeting to conduct a regular board meeting of the California Military Institute at this time. It is 5:14. Right. It is 5:26. We reconvene of the regular school board meeting at this time. Item 8.1 is an action item revision, adoption, ordering of agenda, June 19, 2019. Is there a motion?
So moved.
second.
Dr. Rao and Mr. Nelson. Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? No?
I think I have an answer.
No problem. We can proceed? All right, please vote. Eight point one is a 4-0 vote. 9.1, report out of closed session.
Yes, we do have a few items to report out of closed session. In closed session by a vote of 4-0, the Board of Trustees approved the appointment of Dr. Cassandra McNair as Coordinator of Special Education with an effective date to be determined. Yay. In closed session by a vote of 4-0, the Board of Trustees approved appointment of Mr. Michael Rodriguez as Special Education Administrator with an effective date to be determined. In closed session by a vote of 4-0, the Board of Trustees approved the appointment of Mrs. Dawn Bray as Director of Purchasing with an effective date to be determined. And finally, in closed session by a vote of 4-0, the Board of Trustees approved the release and reassignment of employee 101335 as a certificate administrator with an effective date of July 1st, 2019. That concludes my report out of closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Item 9.2, district update by the superintendent.
Oh, that's me again, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Oops, fumble. Well, I just want to thank all the schools and the board for the last week of school. We had a heck of a run there, 7 graduations and 2 promotions in 4 days. That was a lot of hot days out there in the sun. But the best part is we got to see those kids come across the stage. And I think my favorite one was the PALS group. And just the excitement, sheer excitement and pride that their families had, and the kids were so excited. The first one we've had, so it was great to be there and be part of that. All the other schools did a great job on the graduations. Are very dignified and nice ceremonies that went off without a hitch. So I'm proud of our administrators for what they did, and the teachers that were there to help monitor the students and really the students for how they did a dignified ceremony for their family, because that's what it's all about. It's not for them, it's for their family. This week we started maker camps at some of our schools where the kids could voluntarily come in and they work on projects. They're building, what are they building, Joe? Why don't you talk about that for a second?
Each campus is a little different depending on the repertoire of the teacher. So at Paris High School, there's a lot more circuitry and wiring, and because that's the teacher's Ryan Hayes. At Paloma Valley High School is Joe Jennings, who teaches astronomy. So there's a lot more engineering, and they do rockets. And then over at Heritage High School, we were there today. James has been at all of them also, and they were teaching them how to solder. It's kind of LED jewelry. And so they were learning how to solder. And so it just takes the flavor of the repertoire of the teacher. Oh, and at Heritage High School, the teacher there is the art teacher. So she was doing a bunch of arts, including circuitry. So it just really depends on the repertoire of the teacher, but it's a great opportunity for these students to come in. They get fed breakfast, they get fed lunch, and they take things home with them when they're done, and all based on engineering and STEM.
So that's the 4th year we've been doing these, Joe? 4th year of these camps, so it's good for the kids and good for the families. They get a little bit of time away from but they're doing something productive. At Pinnacotta, we're hosting this week what's called the GEMS program, which is Girls in Engineering, Math, and Science. It's run through the United Way puts on the program, but we host it. So there's about 20 girls over at Pinnacotta the last 3 days working on engineering projects and doing some activities that kind of spur their hope to be moving into that field, because we have such a shortage of women in those fields that it's a way to try to do it. And it's always 7th graders, and the girls have a whole year program. They go to this one, and then they'll go out to the Boris lab? In Riverside. They go for a field trip. Bourne lab out there in Riverside, and they go for a field trip out there. But it's neat to see the girls getting excited about what they're building. Kind of goes along with Maker Camp, but it's a Maker Camp on steroids, really. Kind of a really cool thing happened today. One of our Joe's Tech people, Maurice, and I can't say his last name, Najunga, was just sworn in as a U.S. citizen today. So it was great to see that. And the final things on my report would be, I would just want to introduce our other 2 new assistant principals. They were approved last month, but we want to introduce them tonight. I'll start out with Miss Brenda Burgo. She's going to be at Pinnacotta Middle School. If you want to come on up, Brenda, you don't get to sit there. And this is Brenda Burgo. She'll be at Pinnacotta Middle School.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the board, superintendent, cabinet for giving me the opportunity to work here in Parish Union High School District. My husband is an employee. My son is also a student in the district. I know this district is doing great things, and I'm super excited to be a part of Pinnacotta Middle School under Mrs. Jones. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Yes, you should introduce your family with you.
Yeah, so this is. So that's my husband, Rashid. My daughter, Jaden, say hi. My son, Jordan, and my other son, Jackson. So we're all Jackson.
Congratulations. We're glad to have you with us joining our
Thank you,
team.
guys. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
We got the better half of the Burgo family now.
Yes, you did.
And then our new assistant principal at Heritage High School will be Tom La Rochelle. He has He's a current teacher there, and he's moving into administration now. So Tom La Rochelle.
I met everybody last month, but hello again. Thank you again. Thank you for everything. A lot of you I've known for many years. It's nice to finally make that step up to administration and be a part of a legacy that Mr. Bennett started, that Ms. Zerold, and now with Ms. Tejeda there, we're really hit the ground running already in the last few weeks. So it's really great to be part of a great team. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Oh, my better half. Maybe I can get her to come over.
Tom was one of the founding teachers when we opened up Heritage High School. He was in the first year we opened there. So we expect great things from him as administration. And that concludes my report for this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. All right, 9.3, President Jason Miller.
Hello. I am newly elected president of PSCA. Thank you for this time to speak. I would like to give thanks to Jesus Christ, who is God, for putting me exactly where he wants me to be. I would like to thank my wife, Mary, for supporting me in taking on this presidency. I would also like to thank the PSCA membership that elected me to this position. I will serve them all to the best of my ability, regardless of their religious positions or spiritual or non-spiritual leanings. A new era begins in PSCA, an era in which PSCA members will continue to become part of the process and empowered in different ways to continue to make PUHSD the best place to work. PSCA will operate in different ways from the past, not better or worse ways from the past, just different. My predecessor, Vicki Mueller, did many amazing things for PSCA members, and for that, PSCA thanks her for her accomplishments. I love working in this district. I mean that. I really, really love working in this district, as do many of the members that I speak to on a daily basis. It is my job to work towards prosperity, stability, and safety for PSCA members as they spend a significant part of their daily lives building relationships with their students. To administration, I say this: I am not your enemy. I am not your friend. I am an advocate for PSCA members. And to that end, I keep a blended relationship with members and with administration. PSCA desires to work towards solving problems instead of just talking about them. If a bad decision is made against a member, PSCA will work for the member to solve it. If a relationship piece is struggling between administration and members at any level, PSCA will work for the member to solve it. If members are being treated unfairly, PSCA will work for the members to solve it. PSCA will not approach the problem with guns blazing or a gotcha mentality. However, PSCA leadership has a commitment to represent our members to the best of our ability in sometimes adverse situations. Words are wind, and PSCA will be responsive to action and solutions. PSCA is quite reasonable and fair, and we expect the same from an administration. I am not worried, though. Many administrators know PSCA and myself and many of the PSCA officers. And while we sometimes disagree, the administrators I have seen since Mr. Bennett has taken charge of this ship are able to work with employees in a very civil manner to work out problems. The days of backbiting and negative antics between members and administration and PSCA officers, they're long gone. But we continue to work on those relationships because PSCA recognizes that this is a people business. We will not throw away or work against the relationship PSCA has made with administration. I do need you to understand, though, that the relationship with those that put me here must come first. Thank you for this time to speak.
Thank you. Next item, 9.4, CSEA President Josh Rushing. Okay. Item 9.5, comments by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Abreu.
I just want to share with everybody about the graduation ceremonies. They were great, excellent, and let me start with saying thank you to all the staff members, to the teachers, to supporting the students to be able to achieve this goal. I want to say congratulations to all the high schools. A very high percentage of students, of seniors of the class of 2019 graduated, but especially at Paloma Valley, where only one senior was not able to graduate. So that was amazing. That was a great job, and that was the result of the effort and the commitment from the teachers, the students, the parents, the administration working together. So that was really impressive when I heard that data. I want to say congratulations to the new administrators, to Tom, Brenda, and Mr. Anderson. Anderson, right? Yeah, I forgot your first name, sir. Miles. Okay, Tom, Brenda, and Miles. Congratulations to the ones who are new to the district. Welcome. Welcome to Perris Union High School District. Yeah. And I think that would be it. Yeah.
I also wanted to echo what Dr. Arouse has said about graduations. They went out without a hitch. All the kids were great. All the administration put on a great show for all of them. I especially liked that Ms. Tejeda gave me a free doctorate out of it. She introduced me as Dr. Nelson, so I'll take it. Does that come with a pay increase? Only in Hammett. Darn. Okay. Okay, so I'll take it up with them. But thank you for hosting all the graduations, and also the teachers for helping the students get there, and the parents who are not here necessarily, but the parents play a big part as well, and I appreciate that their hard work in their students' lives as well. So.
I also was able to attend 6 of the graduations. They were all beautiful. I really feel for the kids that are graduating. You can see they've put in the work, and I also want to thank the sites for their hospitality. They treat us like we're really special, and we're just like anybody else, volunteers, and want to see the best for our students and staff and parents. So thank you for the hospitality, and look forward to another great year.
I too would, actually I'm piggybacking off of everyone, right? Congratulations again to all of our new administrators. Mr. Miller, thank you and for voicing yourself, and congratulations to you in your newly elected position. Some advice real quick. I was president of CSEA where I work, and it's not an easy position, but as long as you keep focused and you keep your faith, because I heard you talk about your faith, keep your faith, you'll be all right. And other comments, the graduations were amazing. I do want to point out, because a lot of the people in the backgrounds and your departments, they don't get recognized for all the hard work and, keeping everything together and pampering us. Like you said, they treat us really well. We appreciate it. But like Mr. Stafford said, we're ordinary people trying to do the best for everybody, whatever we can do, just like you guys. You guys are amazing. You're all amazing. We really appreciate everything. And definitely congratulations to all of our graduates. That's one of the main reasons why, me personally, I love being a board member and attending all the graduations, as many as possible. That's all I have to say, and I'm going to move on now with the rest of the agenda. Hopefully we could expedite tonight's process. Item 10.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees, non-agendized items.
Still none.
Thank you, sir. Item 11.1, consent calendar, approval of the consent calendar items.
Second.
Mr. Nelson, Dr. Rao. Any discussion? None? Please vote. Item 11.1 is a 4-0 vote. Item 12.1 is the information item, Riverside County Office of Education Program Take Back Update.
Yeah, President Garcia and the board, this is where we were talking earlier in regards to the County Take Back program of autism program. And so with that, I'm going to have Emil Al-Zubaydi. He's going to come up, our Director of Special Education, and give us an update on that.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Excellent, excellent. President Garcia, thank you for having me. Board, Superintendent Bennett, it's nice to see you again, Cabinet. So we're going to start off with talking about our Riverside County Office of Education county program, specifically looking at our autism program and looking at taking that program back. We currently have 112 students, special education students, accessing RCOE programs and services and supports. Before we jump into the autism program, let's talk a little bit about what's gone on with our Pathway to Adults Life Skills program. It was only a year ago that we brought that program back. We currently have 77 students accessing our PALS program. 77 students with 5 teachers and 10 paraeducators. If we would have maintained that program, no, please, yeah, no, it's okay. If we would have maintained, it's all good. If we would have maintained that program with RCOE, that program would have cost us $3.6 million. Just want to throw a little photos in terms of what our programs have been doing. Our students have been actually out to March Air Force Base on community-based instructions. Our social skill programs have been phenomenal. We have students that are relating to one another. We have socials that occur on a daily, on a advantageous basis in terms of every season. And then we have adaptive physical education, and we have our students truly, truly impacted and being profoundly impacted by our program through PALS. And I wanted to thank you for allowing us to bring that program back. Truly, thank you. Let's talk about our autism program currently at RCOE. We currently have 23 students. With those 23 students, we've got 4 one-to-one aides. Our current cost for the 19-20 projections with RCOE is $57,000 per student. We currently have one transition program that supports our students that from 18 to 22, and specifically for our students identified with autism. We have one class of students between the grades of 9 through 12, again, supporting our students with autism. And you'll notice 90% of our students in that RCOE, in those 2 RCOE programs are our students. Currently, we're looking at $1.1 million using AB 6002 transfer monies. That's going to go through to RCOE for this fiscal year, along with $189,000 of district remaining balance is going to go through. Yes, please.
These classes are at Westfield Canyon High School, but they're being offered through RCOE.
Correct.
Okay, they're not actually at the Office of Education.
No, they're not. Correct. So we're looking at 1.3 million as of right now. And we'll get into some more numbers in a second. We also have the intellectually disabled severe classroom, which is our medically fragile classroom. We have currently 16 students in that class. And you'll notice we're looking at a cost from 18-19 of $47,000 to about $50,000. In our deaf and hard of hearing, we have about 4 students in that program, with that cost rising another about $5,000 as well. The emotional disturbance classroom, we currently have 0 students in that program. Because of our program at Paloma Valley High School and our program at Pinacati Middle School, we're able to maintain our students within our programs from that standpoint. But you'll see that that program is actually also rising in cost from $50,000 to about $55,000 per student. Then we have our itinerant services, where students that need vision services, we have about 20 students. The cost is minimal in terms of that raise from 18-19 to 19-20. Our deaf and hard of hearing students, we have about 31 students as well. And again, the cost is very minimal from that standpoint. And our orthopedically impaired students, we've got 22 students accessing that level of service. And again, actually that cost is going down. So the reason for the increase, 18-19 year, RCOE promised a 15% increase to all staff. With that, we're going to see this year and the following year that 10% increase cost with 5% coming through. I'm going to shed down to the bottom. You're going to see the rate of increase in that program from 19-20 at 8.53%. And that's going to continue to grow annually. We've got districts that are pulling out of RCOE programs at a rate that's pretty substantial. Please don't get me wrong. RCOE does a great job for our students. They do a great job for our students. I think the mentality of our districts and neighboring districts is that we can do it just as good. So some things to consider and remember. Transportation is not included. We have to pay for required equipment, including assistive technology and orthopedic impairment equipment. We're already attending 90% of the IEP meetings. 90% of those meetings we're attending. Costs will rise every year, and we have to submit our letter by June 30th to RCOE and to Riverside County SELPA and letting them know that we want to take those programs back. One-to-one services are extra at $40 an hour. Our service providers are going out to all our COE sites, including occupational therapists, physical therapists, our ERMS providers, our education-related mental health service providers, our speech pathologists, and our school psychologists. So something you need to consider as well when we take a look at sending one of our students to an RCOE program. We're still providing that level of support and service for our students. So if we take a look at bringing our program back, we're looking at the June 2019 to submit that letter to RCOE. Between August of 2019 to March 2020, I want to put together with our SAC meeting programs, our Special Advisory Committee, to come together and talk about our program, look at curriculum, what are the needs, what are the concerns, and make sure that we dot every I and cross every T before we bring our students back. April through June, we want to make sure that we get our parent input. It's critical because our parents are invested in programs for their students. We want to make sure that we get the input, the buy-in of our parents as well through that process. So we're looking at between April and June to make sure that we get parent input, have the opportunity for parent meetings. Come July of 2020, if everything's working out the way I'm hoping it'll work out, we'll be looking at interviewing, hiring staff, order classroom materials, and by August of 2020, we're opening our autism programs in the district. That's the hope. So with what's in front of you as well as a spreadsheet that you have next to you, and you'll see that we currently have 23 students enrolled in the autism program at a cost of $57,000. We're looking at $1.3 million. Now, we're also looking at a potential growth area of 5 students going into that program for this fiscal year. That's going to cost us another $285,000 with a total cost of almost $1.6 million. Actually, 1.5. In terms of bringing our program back, there's going to be some one-time costs that we have to consider. We're going to take a look at sensory equipment. We're going to need to look at curriculum materials, furniture, and also moving expenses. In addition to the program, we're going to also open a sensory gym. That's going to cost some money in a sense to be able to make that happen and make sure that we have an optimal and effective program. Ongoing costs, we're going to have paraeducators. We're looking at teacher costs, and we're also looking at bringing on board an AB or applied behavioral analysis specialist to come on board and help us make sure that our students and our teachers are getting the support they need to make sure that our program is successful and that our students are truly getting an appropriate program. And you'll see on there that these costs, if we're looking at a third step, our paraeducators about $52,000, our teachers at $117,000, and our ABA specialist, the equivalent to an ERM specialist, about $122,000. We're looking at a total projection at this point, a saving of approximately $597,000. That won't be this year, that'll be the following year. And each year thereafter will be a consistent savings because our numbers are just growing. Yes, sir. So I can tell you the sensory equipment will probably cost us around $5,000, roughly. The curriculum materials, I'd say anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 in a sense. And the no, total. We're talking total. Furniture cost, we're looking at furnishing 2 classrooms. I don't have that estimate for you. I'll make sure to get that for you as well. So about $20,000 total. And then moving expenditures in terms of where we're looking at wanting to place the classrooms, we're going to need to move filing cabinets, things of that nature. We're looking at a total cost somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000. That's like top of the chain in a sense. So when you look at the totality of those one-time costs, they're very minimal compared to exactly. Oh, sorry. We're done with that. We're moving along. It's going to take all of us, and I'm asking for your help in allowing me to move forward in this process. I would really like to focus on bringing our autism program back. I know we can do it. We're also, the other piece that we want to take a look at is we're going to have a mileage saving. We have our itinerants driving out all the way to Moreno Valley, Lake Elsinore, to make sure that we provide that level of service. That's a savings for us in terms of mileage cost. Time savings as well, because we're going to have itinerants here. That means we're going to have to hire less individuals to provide that level of service. In addition to that, we're going to have direct oversight. Currently, Riverside County Office of Education is actually writing our IEPs. That is an issue with every one of our LDA members in the SELPA. We've been trying to work with RCOE to take that back because of the legal requirements that we have. And so that's been an ongoing issue as well. that'll be part of our process and make sure that those IEPs are solid, especially with Office of Civil Rights, California Department of Ed, making sure that we're clean and airtight with that process. So at this point, any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. It's done. It's done. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. All right, item 13.1, discipline, May 2019 monthly suspension report. Item 14.1 is an action item, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Rao. My mouse is tripping. And Mr. Nelson. Any discussion? No? Please vote. 14.1. You good? All right. Item 14.1 is a 4-0 vote. Item 14.2 is another action item, personnel classified personnel action items. Is there a motion? Mr. Nelson, Mr. Stafford. Any discussion? None? Please vote. Item 14.2 is a 4-0 vote. 14.3 is an action item, curriculum approval to enter into agreements with Mount San Jacinto Community College for the purpose of providing college programs, adult education, and curriculum alignment. No fiscal impact. Is there a motion? Mr. Stafford and Mr. Nelson. Dr. Nelson. Any discussion?
Yeah, just one comment. Is this where we are going to have the professors coming to teach the classes, right? At Miss Zero.
This isn't kids going to that. This is the professors coming to our site.
It's all-inclusive.
All
We have
inclusive.
agreements to let kids go there. We have the professors.
Yeah.
Our dual enrollment program, our other ones that are aligned that aren't dual enrollment. What are those called, Julie? No, the programs that, the articulated programs with MSJC.
Okay. Yeah. And I have great news from this perspective. Remember that we are looking at the model that is at the other high school, right, with RCC. For next year, it's my understanding that there is some funding that now the program is going to be expanded from the perspective that the students are going to start taking classes not as juniors, but as sophomores, and during the summer school from their sophomore year and the summer school from their junior year, also the professors are going to come to the high school to take those classes. The ultimate goal is that in 3 years after we start the program, they are going to graduate with an AA and the high school diploma. So the plan is there is not if they take the classes. They are going to be offering the classes. So I know that this is the first step. We're already there. We are getting there. But next year, probably we can start looking into that to have that. I know that we have the other program where our teachers teach the class when they have the dual enrollment. But it would be nice to start looking into what are the requirements and if we are going to be able to fulfill with the dual enrollment the goal that we want, right? And I think is that we want that they get their AA. And if not, work something out with the community college in order to have that plan. Let's call it like in the high school we call the 4-year plan. We want to have the AA plan. Yeah. What are you going to say?
Well, for the community college, a 6-year plan.
Oh, the 6-year plan. Yes, the 6-year and 4-year plan. Yeah, combined. So I think that was great news, and probably next year they are going to share that with us. And if not, we can ask about that in order to guarantee that our students can fulfill that. Yeah. Okay. That was the only comment.
Any more discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.3 is a 4-0 vote. 14.4 is an action item, curriculum agreement for consulting services with Nether Springs to provide health education and wellness workshops for parents funded through the Title I funds at a total cost not to exceed $16,250, not the general fund. Is there a motion? Mr. Nelson? Mr. Stafford? Any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.4 is a 4-0 vote. 14.5 is action item, curriculum agreement for consulting services with Corn Press Incorporated for professional development services funded through the Low Performing Students Block Grant and the amount of $36,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Stafford and Dr. Rao. Any discussion? Please vote. Item 14.5 is a 4-0 vote. 14.6 is another action item, curriculum agreement for professional consultant services with Blue Water Educational Consulting for Paris High School and Pinacati Middle School for alternative to suspension site level training using restorative discipline practices funded through the Title I funds at a total cost not to exceed $40,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion? Mr. Stafford and Mr. Nielsen. Any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.6 is a 4-0 vote. 14.7 is another action item, curriculum agreement with T4 Learning to provide teacher training and professional development and curriculum instruction, teaching, and learning at Pinacati Middle School, funded through the Low Performing Students Block Grant in the amount of $40,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion? Dr. Rao? Dr. Nelson?
Dr. Nelson, second.
Sorry, that's going to go for a while. Any discussion?
4 years of fake medical school to not be qualified.
Any discussion? None? Please vote. Item 14.7 is a 4-0 vote. Item 14.8 is another action item, curriculum, agreement for professional consultant services with Positive Solutions to facilitate anger management, substance abuse prevention, and effective decision-making sessions funded through the Local Control Accountability Plan Supplemental and Concentration Funds at a total cost not to exceed $40,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion? Doctor and Mr. Stafford, any discussion? None? Please vote. Item 14.8 is a 4-0 vote. So does it count the more I call you doctor? Is it more
Sure.
solidified?
Business cards.
Item 14.9 is an action item, curriculum, agreement for professional services with CBH Consulting to provide training for special ed teachers funded through special education at a total cost not to exceed $35,200, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, let's try that one more time. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Rao and Mr. Stafford, that was a classic. Any discussion? None? Please vote. Item 14.9 is a 4-0 vote. Item 14.10, another action item, curriculum proposal from Stimulate. I should have got that. Right? Stimulate Learning to provide math educational and consulting services to Paris Union High School District, funded through the Low Performance Student Block Grant at a total cost not to exceed $187,000, not the general fund. Is there a motion? Doctor and Mr. Stafford. Tell you, that's just going to go on and on. Any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 1410 is a 4-0 vote. Item 1411, another action item, curriculum English textbook adoption. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Nelson and Dr. Rao. Any discussion? None? Please vote. Item 1411 is a 4-0 vote. 1412 is an action item, curriculum local control accountability plan and annual update for 2019-2020. Is there a motion?
Second.
Mr. Stafford,
Dr.
Dr. Rao. Any discussion?
No.
No, please vote. Item 1412 is a 4-0 vote. 1413, another action item, building and grounds, ratification of award of bids for 5 categories for the Liberty High School project funded through various facility funds in the amount of, $27,325,648, not the general fund.
Second.
I got happy when I saw that. Mr. Nelson? Who's the second?
Yeah.
Who's the second? Dr. Rao. Any discussion?
I had a question. We had talked about this in the facility study session. Are we able to save the money that we were hoping to save with the rebid of all this stuff? And
We were. I was fearful you were going to ask me do you remember the amount? 1.3?
It's actually at 1.9.
all right,
Yeah. So yes, we accomplished what we were hoping to accomplish when Mr. Keel was here.
I know we had one of the
And-
vendors who
And that contractor was the low bidder.
Okay.
Obviously, we revised, the bid documents, but he came in. He came in lower, but about 300,000 lower.
Okay.
So
Well, good for him.
all worked out well.
okay. Thank you.
But thank you for taking our recommendation. I know that was a difficult decision back, whatever month that was.
Any more discussion? None? Please vote. Item 1413 is a 4-0 vote. Item 1414 is an action item. Excuse me. Building and Grounds Award of RFP number 060319 and agreement with Bell Roof Company Incorporated, or INC, I better say that, for asbestos abatement and repair and installation of roofing material at the Pathways Adult Life Skills School, Heritage High School, Paloma Valley High School. I just lost my place. Funded through the routine restricted maintenance fund in the amount of $214,902, not the general fund. Is there a motion?
So move.
Dr. Rao, Mr. Nelson. Any discussion?
Lost the joke already.
Oh, no. We'll get to it. Don't worry.
I have a
vote.
couple of questions.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Just looking at the schools we're doing, the adult life schools, Heritage High and Paloma. These repairs are just the small repairs. Yeah, just a brief description. Yeah. Come on.
Come on down.
Public record, man. We gotta
Okay.
have the
Just you don't have to do it really brief. So at Pathways.
That house is going to be the bottom 3 shingles, and then we're going to roof up because the outside edge where the shade structure is outside, that's leaking. It's leaking on the side.
Okay.
So we got to replace most of that wood up under there. Go 3 shingles up because the rest of the roof is good. We got to take the 2 units off, but we're going to end up replacing those units because they're bad anyway, since we got to take them off.
The whole portables?
No, 2 HVAC units off that one side. If you picture
okay.
pals, if you're under
Yeah.
there, you're looking at it right there where the kitchen is. Those 2 units on your right-hand side right there, up under that that metal shade structure. I mean,
Yeah, we had trouble there before.
every year. So now we're gonna finally change it.
Okay.
And then this year we're gonna do the Lincoln, because I think last year or 2 years ago we did the Washington building. We resealed that. Because remember, it's a foam roof, so
Yeah.
we just going over all that. And then Paloma, we doing the art building,
Oh, okay.
the sped building.
I know exactly where you're.
I know. Okay.
And
That's all I wanted to
I did have a
know.
question. It also said asbestos abatement. Do we actually have any?
It's in the Henry's 208. It's in everybody's. Since we're a school district, we have to put it in our HERA plan, and you have to, as a homeowner, you could just throw it in your trash, but we can't. We
Okay.
have to have it abated.
Okay, thank you, Art.
Thank you. Please vote. Item 1414 is a 4-0 vote. Item 1415, another action item, building and grounds, award of bid number 061019 to Tri-R General Contractors, Inc. for the Paris Lake High School Building 200 remodel project funded through the Career Technical Education Incentive Grant at a total cost not to exceed $83,900, not the general fund. Is there a motion? Doctor? And who's my second?
Jose.
The other doctor?
Dr. Ross.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Please vote, gentlemen. Item 1415 is a 4-0 vote. Item 1416, business marketing and design contract with Inspire Social, funded through the general fund in the amount of $96,000 per year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Nelson and Dr. Arau. Is there any discussion? No? Please vote. Item 14.6 is a 4-0 vote. 16, thank you. Ooh. Item 14.16 is a 4-0 vote. Moving on to item 1417, since I forgot how to count. Business, adoption of the 2019-2020 district budget. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Nelson, Dr. Arau. Any discussion? No, please vote. Item 14.17 is a 4-0 vote. Item 1418. Item 1418, business, Liberty High School mascot and school colors committee recommendations.
So moved. Second.
Dr. Nelson, and who was the second? Dr. Arau.
We just have this mocked up so that you could see what the bicep would look like
Okay.
in terms of colors and style and that sort of thing.
We had the 5-member committee that sat in that, Mr. Nelson and Dr. Freeman were part of that.
Dr. Nelson, hello.
So, does that require a two-man suit?
Yeah, one person always has to be jumping.
We had the
That's funny.
paper mache one at Paris High for the Panther. They'd run around with the Panther that was painted. But the committee worked, we came in, we had probably hundreds of suggestions of what the mascot should be. We had,
You're welcome.
and we talked about it together and then narrowed it down some, and then we went back and looked at colors. The lady Shauna would send us color versions of it, and we narrowed it, went together one more time to narrow it down to, we had it down to 2 at one time, and then this is the one that kind of jumped out to everybody and thought was the,
And I would also like to thank the people on the panel. Sheila, she's not here, but she had a lot of input as well. She's on chair for the Measure W committee. She helped us get Measure W passed as well. So and Mr. Bennett and Ms. Raines and Dr. Freeman, we all came in with good ideas. It did take us a bit of time to narrow it down, but I think we came down to a pretty nice mascot, which is not represented very often in this area. And Ms. Raines actually has a reasoning for using the bison as well, if you would like to know
That's
it.
what I
It was actually the committees, and I felt like I was writing like a 5th grade research project when I wrote this up. But we learned through the process. One of the things we said in the beginning, that if at all possible, with the name Liberty High School, it might make sense to have a patriotic mascot, of sorts. And, there's just a lot of those that are already taken, including Patriots at Heritage High School. And so we did a little bit of research, and we found that the bison is actually in 2016, a law was passed to make the bison the first national mammal for the United States. So that does give it that patriotic feel, much like the bald eagle, being the national bird. They were both, I think this might be what you're referring to, some of the research, they both faced extinction, at one time. So I think we're all very happy with this mascot, and then it was just like an added bonus that it has that patriotic feel to it as well. We think it will be cool as we're telling the story of how Liberty High School came to be, that this can be part of I'm picturing on the website, about, how did the mascot become, the mascot. We were looking for something patriotic. So, is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I just
so,
wanted you to be able to get your story in. 'Cause
so summarizing, just in case somebody asks us why it was selected. So in 2016, the bison was the
National Bison Legacy Act, it was called.
Okay.
I did read another thing that in 2016, that was the only thing that lawmakers in both houses could agree on. But I didn't put that in there.
But it's the only national mammal.
Mammal.
The eagle obviously is a bird, but yes, it's the only national mammal that's we have it for our country.
Okay.
Do we have any bison in the area?
There's bison in all 50 states
I
now.
saw that.
Yeah.
Where's ours?
Well, Sarah showed me a video earlier. No, I'm kidding.
We have one.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Okay.
We might want to get one. Huh?
Well, yeah, we actually brought bison to Caroline Island.
Bisons.
The buffalo.
A friendly one.
Rebel.
The bison. Sheila really wanted rebel, but I think that'll be left up to the
Yeah,
the
we did
school
say
itself,
up to the school.
Okay.
None? Please vote.
Yep.
I still think they should make that into a flag. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I'm sure they can.
Yeah, so the plan, we were waiting for approval. Sorry, I know we've moved on, but but I heard you say banner. But you approved the design and marketing contract. We've been using Inspire Social for a couple of years now. All of this is just one logo. That's not necessarily the font. We'll start looking at font. We'll start looking at secondary logos so that we're ready to market that school, just like we're doing for our other schools to try to increase enrollment, which affects our revenue. It also affects our facilities revenue. So we're ready to go after you said yes tonight.
That's what I'm
So-
talking about. All right, congratulations. 14.18 is a 4-0 vote. Item 15.1 curriculum is an Information Act curriculum, French textbook adoption. Item 15.2 is an information item, business revolving cash report. Item 16.1 is an action item, closed session if necessary.
Not necessary.
Thank you, sir. Come on. Item 18.1, discipline board review of discipline matters. Is there a motion?
Second.
Dr. Nelson and Dr. Rao. It'll probably end tonight, just so you know. I know you do. Any discussion? No? Please vote. Right, yeah. Please vote.
That's me, sir.
That's okay. That's all right. We're having a good time. Item 18.1 is a 4-0 vote. Item 18.2 is an action item, discipline, reinstatement of student discipline matters. Is there a motion?
So move.
I think I heard you first.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the second.
And then Dr. Rao?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please vote.
Hold on, mine desynced it, and we resynced it.
I'm sorry?
I'm still on 18.1.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
We're at 18 too.
I know. It desynced for some reason. sync, but I'm still showing 18.1.
But,
So I can just vote orally if you want. I'll vote yes. This says 18.2. This says it's still stuck on 18.1.
I'm 18 too. I think this is a record time in board meeting, right? Oh, well, you know, I learned from you. Man, I was stressing over that. Yeah, I was like, it's gonna be a long night. I'll take credit for it. Oh, that was your idea though? She's being humble. You see that?
Forget my oral vote because that's my real vote.
Okay, there we go. Item 18.2 is a 4-0 vote. Sorry, guys. 19.1, other items by the superintendent.
I just want to take a minute and thank Ruben and Art and Hector for the graduations and promotions, how much work their teams did out there in the heat,
Yes.
making sure we were all taken care of and taking care of the parking and doing all those things. They're the unsung heroes of graduation. We give our thank you to your team of guys and gals that you had out there doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 20.1, other items by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Arau?
No, sir.
You sure, Doctor?
Being a newly
You're a business guy.
You know, I do want to thank the Sheriff's Department because I've thanked everyone else but you guys. So I apologize. So please spread the word. Thank you. We appreciate you all, and thank you for protecting us. Item 20.1, this is Joe's subject. Adjournment, regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees for June 19, 2019.
Second.
All right.
Oh no, I'm desynced.
Oh, no. So it was Mr. Nelson and Dr. Arau. Any discussion? Please vote. Item 21.1 is a 4-0 vote, and we are adjourned at 6:20 p.m.